My name's Julianne Golinski. I go by Julie, but I graduated in 2017. I got a biology degree and a chemistry minor, and I went to graduate school at Penn State to get my master's. And then now, after graduating, I'm starting a new job at FMC, which is an agricultural research um, center. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
What were you most interested in terms of biology when you were at Washington College? What really got you excited?
Plants were my big focus, but then also taking your ornithology course, I started to get really interested in birds. So I felt excited about all of these things. But yeah, I guess more in my senior year, I realized that I wanted to focus on plants and all of the different organisms that they interact with, which often was like insects and microbes. So that's kind of the path that I took. I feel this way, and I know a lot of other people who went to WAC feel this way. Like the teaching that I got there was so kind of crucial for me to learn what I actually was interested in. Doing the labs and being able to learn how to write scientific writing that is concise and gets to the point, I think is super important. I think I'll always use the skills that I learned with my writing. Also, learning how to actually present well, which for me in my career moving forward, being able to present information to others is super important, especially right now because I'm doing more like agricultural based research. Being able to communicate with like growers and people like that who maybe don't have the same background as I do. But from what I learned at WAC, I know how to take these, sometimes maybe more complicated topics and kind of, break them down into ways that they're understandable and people can walk away and make, decisions.
Do you want to talk about any of the non-class kind of bio experiences you had that may have helped push you further to like research your ecology?
Right. So I was lucky enough, I had Dr. Krochmal as my advisor. And I remember the day that he said, you should work with Jenny, you should work with Dr. Carr. I was with him and he picked up the phone and he called you and he said, you should talk to Julie. You should talk to her.
I remember that day.
Yeah, I remember that super well. So then I went to see you and you said, oh, I have these research projects because a lot of the faculty over the summer through the Toll research program, they take students on. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll do that. And I met you and I was like, oh, I like her. And I thought the project was really cool. So I got the chance to work with you for like 3 months over the summer. And I mean, we just published that too. So just to bring it full
Yeah,
circle.
just to,
Yeah.
brush off the shoulders a
That's
little
right.
bit, right? That is a great opportunity, right? Because when
Yeah.
you go to your master's program, you go to grad school, that's really the same experience, just sort of beefed up a lot. So,
Yeah. I mean, that experience was like really pivotal for me because it made me realize, oh, I really like ecology. I really like research. I started with hummingbirds and ecology research, and I loved that. But then I was like, oh, I really love plants, which is, I learned through my classes. So then the next summer I said, okay, I'm going to do a plant-based research program, which was heavily molecular. And then I said, okay, I like plants, but I need to take a step back and maybe not go so molecular. So then that next year I did my thesis and I did it on a topic I thought, oh, I could really like researching this. And then I got into my master's program, which was very closely linked to that kind of topic.
and what
So
was
that
the
was,
topic for your master's?
oh, yeah. So I did chemical ecology. That's kind of like the larger field and plant insect interactions. So I was looking to see if plants can actually detect the pheromones given off by insects and if it can affect their defenses kind of broadly. So that I loved that so much. So that really started from my senior year. And I was really lucky to be able to find the people doing that work at Penn State. And then that's what led me there.
Want to tell us, take a step back a little bit and talk more about what really drew you to Washington College in the first place? Did it live up to your expectations? Did it surprise you in any kind of way? Let's talk about that.
Sure. So I think I have kind of an interesting perspective on this because I'm technically a local. So I grew up in Centerville, Maryland, which is like 20, 30 minutes from Chestertown. And and my mother also worked there, I will note. So I was like, oh, I just assumed I would never go there, just because I knew it so well and I knew the area. Um, but then honestly, I took some classes at Washington College my senior year of high school. And I was like, well, I might as well see what it's like, and get the credits. And then it wasn't even science classes, but I was still like, wow, the teaching was really strong. And it was like a philosophy course and a history course. It just changed for me seeing the school, being in some of the classes and meeting some of the faculty. I was like, oh, I think I am going to go here. And
That's
I mean,
great.
I had a lot of options on the East Coast, and I still decided to go to Washington. And honestly, I don't regret it at all. I'm so glad that I did. Just like the student life and being there, like, what is there to do? I always thought, like, okay, it's a rural area, it's a small town. Like, am I going to get bored? And honestly, I can say I never really did because you find your group of people and it ends up being so fun and you just bond. And, there is more to do than you would think.
So we talked a lot about the academics and what brought you to Washington College, but let's talk more about the fond memories you maybe have of some bio classes or of the department.
Sure. I think one that really comes to mind right away is the travel course we got to do with you and Dr. Van Meter, where we went to Nicaragua. It was so amazing because, so it was on a preserve in the rainforest. We could only get there by boat, which was amazing. And then you go there, and then there's this beautiful house in the middle of the jungle with all of these like people there. And we got to go out into the jungle. And I'm going to give out to my friend a shout out to my friend Nancy. We became friends because of this, because we were in the jungle together looking for seedlings
Yes.
and looking for tree fall gaps and just out there and just figuring it out as we went. And it was just so amazing and what we got to see. And then after we were in the rainforest and doing our research projects, we actually got to travel to all these different towns and went to a volcano, which changed my life.
Yeah.
This volcano was like active. It was so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see a big pit
Top five,
boiling lava like that.
top five moments ever for me. That was so cool. And then we zip lined over a coffee plantation in a cloud forest, which doesn't even sound real, but it was real. You learn a lot, but then you also have a lot of fun. And we got to present when we came back, and it was just a different kind of science experience than I've ever had because you really had to think, on your feet, like, okay, what equipment do I have with me to be able to do this? And it was just really fun. I
Yeah.
loved it. So,
Yeah. Thinking on your feet is really important for a
yes.
scientist to have under their belt.
Yeah, I learned that a lot in grad school as well, like, because I had to do a lot of greenhouse work
Mhm.
and rigging things up to the way I needed them. And just even in somewhat controlled settings, you still have to think on your feet like that. So,
Yeah.
you
Your
know,
plants still don't like to grow for you.
such a struggle.
Yeah. What makes you most nostalgic for your time at WAC?
I think a lot of my friends at WAC will agree. Those nights when you're sitting in Toll, there's something about, so Toll, the science building where biology is housed, there's something about being there at certain times of day when there aren't as many people. You're working on a whiteboard, you're sitting with your friends, figuring stuff out. You're bonding, but you're, learning. Oh, just so fun. That's my favorite
Aw,
thing to think back on
that kind
is
of gave me the warm and fuzzies, right?
I know there's
Sometimes
something
when
about
I
it.
walk through Toll
Yeah.
and I see groups of students, like it just, I love to see that, how you guys form communities.
Most of the I'd say all the faculty usually had their door open at some time in the day. You could just poke in and, even just chat with you. And I really liked, yeah, I missed that kind of
I
thing for
miss it
sure.
too. I
So,
miss it
yeah,
too. Zoom doesn't have quite the same effect, does it?
no, no, it doesn't. I guess for me, like, I came in thinking I was going to be like environmental major or psych major or something like that. And it took one Gen Bio course for me with Dr. Crockmall and these other courses. with like plants and your ornithology course that kind of changed my mind. Like, oh, I want to definitely study biology and ecology and go down this route. So that was a huge step for me. And then being there and having um, people like the faculty, like you, help facilitate my interest in research and help me get into these programs and help me realize that, oh, I want to go to graduate school. That was a huge thing for me. So doing that and then getting to go to get my master's really led me to where I am today, where I'm able to take all of these things that I learned and all this research that I really love, like working with plants and bugs. And now I'm able to work in a place where I'm able to use all of that and then apply it to work that actually influences growers and people and all of us because it's agriculture. So for me, it's very like full circle that I was able to start from there to now feel like I'm actually doing something that feels good and that I'm actually having, a real influence over people's lives. So, I mean, like I say, if I didn't have my time there, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm so thankful for that. I really look back on being there and I still talk to all my friends and it's not just bio majors. I have like friends who are in education, friends who are in
Mhm.
bio, psych, everything, business, and we all feel the same way. So I like we just look back on that time and we just, reminisce and feel so happy. And I'm so thankful for, being having the faculty there that I did and making my friends there. So I can't speak highly enough about it.